So you'll notice right off the bat, he has a new weapon, which is his wizard staff.
Wizard staff. So
And
he's a
he
wizard
uses
in this
it
timeline.
Most of his normal attacks.
Random
And he
stuff.
is definitely now much less of a physical fighter than he ever has been before. He is a very powerful mage, and he uses it in most of his attacks. There's a couple normals I really wanted to talk about. Like you can see even his sweep. Instead of using his foot, he literally uses his water staff. This
He's using
is
mostly
definitely
his
I love the
expensive.
kick up. The kick
It's
up.
so good.
And you'll notice the water leaves the top, gets in there, and then comes back to the top.
Right. I absolutely love it. So let's start off with
His design
a
looks
normal
amazing.
player on the show. His forward 2, 1, 3 is this like really good range mid
For a knockdown.
quick. He's also got forward 3, which is an overhead, into a double overhead, and he gets a pop-up. That'll be one of his most important, I think.
Pop up.
And then one
Air
other
moves
normal I
is
really
dope.
wanted to show was a standing 4, which, even though he's no longer a ninja, he still has tremendous leg strength.
Right.
So strong that he can actually kick you across the world.
They
Now
freaking
this is
kept.
an interesting one
That's
because
amazing.
if you hold it, he gets a combo. And he can also cancel out of the hold to fake you out.
Okay.
So like you could literally like
There you go. See?
do a
I'm
capture
good.
state with like
And
your
let's
assist
check out
and
his
then
throw, which is a nice nod to the classic water bubble. He goes in with you, and then you burst out. So you can see his normal attacks are very fresh and different.
very different.
And I think the water
Okay.
effects are awesome.
What does he have to
So
offer?
you want to
though?
go into his special moves?
I think so.
So he has some really interesting zoning tools. I mean, some might even call him a premier zoner. And let's start with his
Zoning.
straight projectile, which takes up a ton of real estate, is fairly quick, and has some interesting ways that you can change it. If you EX it, he gets
He's
a
similar
full
to Starter.
knockdown. He can actually hold it down and get a stagger. And you can actually cancel out of this hold down. So you can mix up doing the move,
Timing. Yeah.
doing different timings, doing the EX,
It's a
or
high
canceling
though.
out of it. Keep the opponent guessing. When you have a projectile like that that takes up a ton of space, what's the one thing you know the opponent's going to try to do to beat it?
Jump.
Jump.
It's a high
And
though,
that's
so
not
just
going
duck
to be
it.
super effective because he has an anti-air version. And this has a very neat EX that actually allows him to pop up for combos.
Oh, okay.
So I think it's pretty cool.
Weird
Again, it makes a full, full screen projectile become kind of an offensive tool up close. Now, one thing would be, well, what happens if they're using projectiles against him? And he has the water bubble, where he surrounds himself in water, and any projectile is going to be negated. It'll actually just be destroyed when it hits the water bubble.
Oh, he can walk
And
out
this
of
is
it.
something
Okay.
that he can set up, go behind,
Oh, okay.
go in
I
the
didn't
middle
know
of.
if there
Works
was
as a
like.
shield.
Exactly, but if you EX it, it surrounds him and travels with
If it
him.
was like Aquaman's thing.
Kind of walk them down. with it.
Exactly. So then you can go in, do
Is it
his
one projectile or
lows,
multiple?
do his overhead, all that good stuff when he has the water shield on.
Gotcha.
Now, there's other ways you can get in. He could set these water portals, and he can set them anywhere he wants. And then he can actually warp through them. So you could do cool stuff, like set one here, go in when you want to get out, warp back to where you were. Or, when you're in, you can set one, do some fun zoning, and then use this to get back in.
Okay.
Interesting. I don't
And
think I've
you
ever
can
seen a
do
character
straight
like that.
Combos, fun stuff like that.
All these characters have like ridiculous like.
Now, once you've established
Tool
that you're
sets.
willing to teleport or throw out some of these fireballs, and the opponent's scared to move, you can start using the whirlpool. And he has close, medium, and far. These will go on the ground, and if the opponent walks into it, they get popped up for combos.
I love how he just grabs the top of his staff and
Yes,
throws it down.
it
It's
is
really
so cool looking.
Okay.
Another
like
move he
that.
has is his Geyser. This is a pretty good advancing special he can 2 in 1 into, and if he EX it has armor. So it's a good wake up attack, a good way to beat pressure.
You can like throw out Geyser and then like
And I think it'll be one of his best combo entries.
throw out. Yeah, I
And
see.
then lastly,
Space
one
Control.
more awesome full range move that kind of shows the full extent of his power.
So cool.
And this is a move that he can actually hold
I like that.
or cancel and just drop down.
People were comparing
So you
this
can do
character
stuff
to
like
Cetrion, bro.
doing
Get
your,
out of
your
here.
water ball, and what's called a fireball, and it's literally the opposite of that. Go into this. Take out
Like
the opponent.
Cetrion's tools were absolutely
They drop down.
ridiculous.
You could set up. You can do all kind of stuff. Set up portals. Be doing that Thunder God move. Cancel it. Go through the portal. Just all kind of options full screen. I think he's going to be a really interesting character to kind of freeze them up full screen to get in and start doing his mix-ups. And speaking of the mix-ups, let's kind of show how he can use his
This character,
Kameo
like,
and
it
go with
looked
that.
all
I assigned him
about space
Striker
control, but a
because
little bit more
I think a cop teaming with a wizard
less
is the exact
broken.
kind of thing you'd see in Mortal Kombat,
sure.
right? So the first thing I'll show with Striker is he has his grenade toss.
Classic.
Straight out of MK3, comes in, throws the double grenades. They can either go low or high. And you can imagine, these are ambush moves, which means they can come out while Rain is doing his attacks. So you can do stuff like you're doing your straight water beam while he's doing his grenades. They can also
lot of
aid you
space
in
control.
combos. So you can do stuff like
Got it.
Striker also has a set of baton moves. He's got Cop Bop, where he comes in and does an overhead, and the classic baton sweep from MK3. So these are lows.
Gave this character
overheads.
some mix
So, great
access
with
example.
a
both.
cameo. Some
Yes. So, one thing you could do, you got your overhead, your opponent's stand blocking all the time because they don't want to get popped up. What am I supposed to do? Sweep them. But you can also do this in a string. So in overhead, you can do overhead, low. Then they get used to the timing. They're like, oh, I'm one of these like Ninja Killer or Sonic people with good reflexes. I can fuzzy that. Then you start doing stuff like Cop Bop. Mix it up. So just from this 50-50,
That-
he can use Striker to have more 50-50s.
That's
It's
so
like,
that-
It's so
how
slow,
you
but
beat
like people are gonna
Sonic
get hit by it.
that's the key. That's
Got it.
all you have to do.
Got
And
it.
like a famous football player once said, it's more than a 50-50.
Got it.
Lastly, Striker has one
Yo,
more
the nod to
move,
Tom Brady.
which I think is probably my favorite.
My favorite thing is he used a sports reference.
Well, sort of.
Half and half.
Striker comes from behind and handcuffs you. And this gives you a reset. Then you get a bunch of advantage and you can go for a mix-up.
Okay.
So you get into your combos
Yeah,
with a
combo into
handcuff
it.
move, then go in and continue your offense. So like you could start a combo with your overhead, go into the handcuffs, and then make them guess low.
Got it.
It's super
That's
fun.
really cool.
Yeah.
So it's like a restand,
So I think that's
and then they have to kind of guess.
that's Rain and Striker, and I maybe go into his Fatal Blow.
Let's take a look.
And I'll just say Striker
It
is
doesn't
my
seem
favorite
like-
Fatal Blow.
Okay.
Blast him. Striker looks great though.
All right. That was Rain.
Yep.
Rain
Very
looks
exciting. People get their hands on Rain soon.
different.
That'll be awesome.
The zoning, the
definitely
space
not
control, I
washed
might
up.
have to mess
Nope.
with that
Nope,
character.
some fresh
Depending on how
moves
like
to make
Shang
your
Tsung
opponent
looks, we'll have to
salty.
see.
Nice.
Cool, let's move on. We're